Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
A Vegas Golden Knights game is a remarkable time. I mean, from the pre-game festivities to the cutting-edge visuals and, of course, all the winning. But seeing the game, that's only part of the fun. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, and in celebration of our hometown hockey team making yet another appearance in the NHL playoffs, we talk with Dave Goucher. He gives us the inside scoop into all the ways to make the most of a trip to T-Mobile and all the things to do pre- and post-game. It's Tuesday, April 22nd. I'm Dayvid Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Dave, you're the official play-by-play guy for the Golden Knights. So play-by-play, tell me what you tell your friends to do when they decide to head to a game.
First off, I would tell them, David, to if they were on the TV, to hit mute. No, look, I think, David, the reason that the Golden Knights have built this into just the best home ice advantage in the league and the best experience in the NHL is that it's an event, right? They make it an event. We're in Vegas. It is a show. And I find that from the time that the doors open until the time they close, that's exactly it. It's one heck of a fun night out. So, for me, if I was going to a game, I would get there and get there early.
How early are we talking? They tell us to go to the airport 2 hours ahead of time. How about for a game? When should you really show up?
If it was me and I wasn't working the game, let's say I was going to the game as a fan, I would get myself a reservation for about 5 o'clock over at Bovette's, which is a great restaurant I love in Park MGM. And I would go to the back of the restaurant. There's a little area called the Parlor Room, and it's its own little separate restaurant within a restaurant. I love it. I love it back there because it's kind of dimly lit. It's quiet. I would go there and have dinner. If I had younger kids, they start the march to the fortress, basically from New York, where the replica of the Brooklyn Bridge is.
Of course, yeah.
They'll start a march to the fortress with the drum bots and some of our VGK cast, and they go from basically that bridge right into the building.
And when does that start? I've never witnessed that.
Yeah, about 5:30. That's where I would go. If you've got the kids, they can march with the VGK cast members and the drum bots into the building, which is fantastic. And then after the game, kind of whatever your pleasure is, David. I tend to love to go, speaking of New York, over to 9 Fine and have a beverage or whatever your pleasure. The dueling piano bar I love over there. So the options, as you know, like around T-Mobile Arena are endless. But that's some of my favorites anyways,
Yeah, no, and I want to hit more of them, Dave. But before we get to even that point, let's go through some of the basics. What are good places to park if you are going to take your own vehicle?
I would park at Aria, or I would try and park at New York. That would be the two closest parking garages. I park at the New York garage. That's where I park for every game. Now, granted, I'm there earlier than most fans would be. But those are the two convenient locations to me.
And there's typically fees on game nights that they will charge a flat fee for you to park in the garage. That's my understanding. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But always there is public transit. You can hop on the Deuce and they'll take you right there, or you could do a ride share too.
Well, and you can also take the rapid transit. So we have there's a thing called the Golden Knights Rapid Transit that will leave from different locations. And my broadcast partner and I, Shane Knighty, actually took this to a game. Earlier this season, we took the bus to the game with Golden Knights fans. It was a game we weren't doing. So they wanted us to kind of promote this.
Yeah.
And it's $4 round trip to go to T-Mobile Arena. So to me, if you were going to go and didn't want to have to worry about parking or having a beverage or not, I would hop on the bus because it's so convenient. It's silly.
And I'm looking it up now. You could go on the RTC website and check out what those routes are if you wanted to hit that. I've done that with the Aviators, and I'll tell you, it really does take a lot of that hassle because cruising around those parking lots in downtown Summerlin, forget about it. All right, well, let me ask you this one. And this one, depending on who I talk to, I get different answers. So I'm curious from you. What are the best seats in the house? If you're going online and you have an option, let's say you're not a season ticket holder, but you're buying some loosies, where should you be looking? What sections?
To me, the best seats would be dead center ice, about halfway up. We broadcast our games from section 16, the front of kind of the top of section 16, which is center ice in front of the Bud Light Lounge at T-Mobile Arena. So you've got the Bud Light Lounge on one side and the Jack Daniels Lounge on the other. That being said, it is not a cheap date. Those are not cheap seats.
Yeah.
If that's something that's not in the budget, I always think great seats are if you're up in the second level in the balcony and maybe you're in one of the corners because you can see the whole play develop.
Oh, yeah.
And the Golden Knights, if you can get to the end where the Golden Knights shoot twice, which would be kind of down like where sections 18, 19, and 20 would be in that area, 21. But in the second level up, to me, it's a better option. It's a cheaper option. So if dead center ice is not in the budget, which for a lot of us it's not,
they're a winning team. People are going to pay. That's how that goes.
Yes.
Hey y'all, it's executive producer Sonia Cho Swanson. And before I went on mat leave last fall, I sent my parents and my in-laws each an Aura digital picture frame. And let me tell you, they are obsessed. I don't put my baby on social media, but I do upload her pics to her grandparents' frames in the Aura app. It's pretty easy. Like the other day, I uploaded a video of my daughter seeing butterflies for the first time at the Springs Preserve. So cute. And the whole family gets to share that memory forever. Sometimes my father-in-law will actually take a picture of his Aura frame and then text it to me when he sees a photo that he really loves. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver mat frame. That's auraframes.com, promo code CityCast. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
What sort of promises have you made to yourself this year? Getting in better shape, eating healthier, saving more money, traveling somewhere new? What about discovering a new culture by learning a new language? With Babbel, you can do that in just a few weeks. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons, handcrafted by over 200 language experts, get you to begin speaking your new language in 3 weeks or whatever pace you choose. And because conversing is the key to really understanding each other in new languages, Babbel is designed using practical, real-world conversations. The Spanish I learned on Babbel really helped me on a recent trip to Mexico City, ordering in restaurants, shopping at the textile market, cheering on at the Lucha Libre, and I've been keeping it up since I got home. You're a podcast listener. I know that because you're listening here. I bet you'll love Babbel's new podcasts. On Eavesdrop in Espanol, which I listen to, you get to listen to a real conversation, then have the teacher host explain back to you. Then you listen again and catch everything. And you can even read along in the transcript. It's a really fun and effective way to learn. Let's get more of you talking in a new language. Babbel is gifting CityCast listeners 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Are there any favorite, maybe more underrated or hidden gems around T-Mobile Arena that people should check out if they're in the building for a Knights game especially?
Yeah, I just think when you're around the building, David, there's so many options. Like Toshiba Plaza the night of a game, is just kind of a beehive of activity. There's different stands where kids can get temporary, little tattoos if they want. If you want a beverage, you can get it. If you want to go over to Beer House, you can have something to eat before the game or have a beverage. I mentioned you can go to Bavette's, you can go to Park MGM. There's a lot going on. I love it that what they've done is it's not just the hockey game. It's not just 7 to 9:30 at night. It's everything that kind of surrounds it. And I think they've kind of set the trend here around the league. And as I go to every building, and I've been in the NHL for 25 years, I was in Boston doing radio for 17 before I came here. So I've been to every building, been very blessed to go to all of them. And I think a lot of the other franchises now have kind of taken the Golden Knights cue. I mean, it's the best atmosphere in the league. It's electric. I always say this, David, it's electric on a Wednesday if they're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets, or it's a Saturday against the LA Kings. The feeling is always the same, which is phenomenal to be a part of.
Yeah, no, that plaza is a little easy to do tailgate for sure. It reminds me very much of being in a parking lot, and yet it's much more contained and a little more accessible. How about inside the building itself? Are there any like secret lounges, or like if you have the inside to get to?
Hyde Lounge upstairs. Hyde Lounge is great. The Castle's the one, and the Hyde Lounge is at the other end. Which, if you've been to T-Mobile, it's a white structure that kind of points out in both corners up at the top level. Okay. So if you can get up there, it's terrific. It's kind of its own little private lounge. As I mentioned, the Bud Light Lounge where we broadcast from. There's people all over the place, David. Like we kind of have our area cordoned off to make sure we can do what we need to do. But the Bud Light Lounge is a lot of fun. Straight across the way is the Jack Daniels Lounge, which is basically the same, just with different sponsorship and maybe some different beverages. So yeah, those are all great. And then, like I say, that castle end is great too, because you're up in the second deck, but there's everything that goes on at the castle, as you know, and you can kind of see the whole play develop. So they make it just an all-encompassing fun night out of entertainment.
Yeah, and I will say this, that I have never been to a Golden Knights game where they lost. I don't think I'm the lucky charm.
So are you free for the playoffs?
Yeah, no, exactly. Because they always bring it to the ice. I mean, this is a team from the very start that has, really excelled in ways that no one anticipated and maintained a level of excellence that I don't think could have been predicted. That said, like you say, it is just a really, really fun time. One thing that kind of puzzles me, and we'll park in different spots just to experiment, and usually along the way, we'll see official and not so official people selling gear and merch, and then there's a bunch of stuff inside, and then there's also stuff you could buy online. I mean, do you have a inside tip of where the best merch might be?
I go, David, honestly, and it's easy for me because I go to the office at City National Arena. So they've got the Arsenal there, which is the Golden Knights souvenir store at City National, and the Armory at T-Mobile Arena. I go to the Arsenal just because it's easy. It's convenient. So I would say if you're in Summerlin, that's kind of the way to go.
Big selection, all the stuff, basically.
Everything you need.
Do they have discounts sometimes?
Sometimes they have discounts, which is nice because, again, none of this stuff is cheap, right? Nothing's cheap anymore.
Right.
I have a good friend who's as a side note, I'm in a rock cover band, and our lead guitar player just turned 50 recently. So his wife said, what do you think you could get for a Golden Knight? He's got the jerseys and he's got the bobbleheads and he's got all this other stuff. Is there anything unique in the souvenir store? And I got him some Golden Knights coasters and a cutting board, and like wine glasses. Anything you could think of, they would pretty much have there. So, and the other thing they have is VGK Authentics, which is game-used Golden Knights things. Think of gloves, pucks, jerseys, where they catalog all that, so it's legit. And I don't know how you are. I get a little concerned unless it's an officially licensed situation. This is. So you get VGK Authentics, you can go to the Arsenal, you can go to the Armory. There's no lack of places you can go.
What's your most treasured piece of Golden Knights paraphernalia that you own or
well,
possess?
I'm very lucky, David, in that I would give you two things. And just because I do I've been very lucky to broadcast the games on television. The organization was unbelievable. To our 6 main broadcasters after they won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, they gave all of us Stanley Cup championship rings.
Oh,
and
man.
They're unbelievable.
All right. Well, thanks, Dave. Goodbye. Now we all hate you. So, no, that's amazing, sir.
So
that's
very
an
lucky.
awesome piece. Okay.
So I've got that, which quite honestly, we'd keep in a safe for obvious reasons.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
But they gave us the same ring that they would have given the players and the coaches and management. So that would be at the top of the list. And the other thing would be, when your team wins the Stanley Cup, they do produce replica Stanley Cups, a smaller version. I would say maybe they're 3 feet high, something like that, with inscribed on that. As you know, when your team wins the Stanley Cup, every player's name, all the names. So they gave us that it was a replica Stanley Cup, a smaller version of the real deal. One side had all the players and coaches and management, and on the back side of it had your name inscribed.
Oh, that's cool.
That was pretty cool too. So those would be. Look, I'm very lucky. I've got plenty of, just by the nature of what I do, T-shirts and hats and this and that. But in terms of like really, really special things, those two would be at the top of the list.
All right, Dave, I'm going to get you in trouble now. You're going to the game as a fan. Whose jersey are you wearing?
Great question. I would go with Jack Eichel's jersey. He's their best player, but I'm a little bit biased. I know Jack a little bit from our Massachusetts ties a bit. He would be first. Mark Stone would be second for me, just because of how good an all-around player he is. Captain of the team, captain of their championship team from a couple of years ago. So if I was going to go, if I wasn't working and I had a different job, those are the guys that I would look at jersey-wise.
Got it. See, I'm a sentimental fool. I'm always going to wear a Fleury jersey. Sorry. And no one's going to give me crap about it either.
No.
That's the thing, is he was so beloved that nobody cares.
Nor should they give you crap about it.
Hey, CityCast. According to me and my calculator, you will spend more time this week between the sheets than you will at work. So upgrade your sheets to Cozy Earth. Luxury starts where you rest. I start my evening in buttery soft Cozy Earth bamboo pajamas. Then I dip into a Cozy Earth bamboo sheet set. They are silky and temperature regulating. Forget the 9 to 5. Prioritize your 5 to 9. Cozy Earth products will transform those hours into a sanctuary. And they take comfort seriously with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. Luxury should not be out of reach, so Cozy Earth is giving CityCast listeners 40% off their best-selling sheets, towels, pajamas, and more. Visit CozyEarth.com and use the code CozyLasVegas for 40% off, because you deserve a great night's sleep, and sanctuary awaits at Cozy Earth.
Let's go back to the fun part of going to a Golden Knights game. You mentioned a couple of places. What are some other picks that you have, food or drinks or whatever, to celebrate after you see your Golden Knights do great?
A couple of places I like, and you'd have to walk a little bit, but it's not that far. I always have loved, and I haven't been there in a little while, that bar on the 25th floor at the Waldorf is a great view of the Strip. I love to go over there. It's so good, David. I love it. So I would go there. I love the Chandelier Bar over at the Cosmo. I love going over to Aria on occasion too. So those are kind of the ones that jump out to me. There's a lounge at the Nomad Lounge at Park MGM, which is, I always think, like, how convenient is it to walk across to the Nomad Lounge, which is in Park MGM. Those are kind of the ones that I would gravitate to, in addition to, what I mentioned earlier.
Let's say that you don't get tickets to go in. Do you have any favorite viewing places in town to watch a Golden Knights game?
Well, we've done, and the Golden Knights have done, a lot of watch parties over the year. I couldn't even count how many. One of the most enjoyable ones I was ever at, and again, this was a game we were not doing, obviously, was at Circa, at the pools at Circa, because they've got this, I don't know if you've been there, David, they've got this video screen.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
it's going to be 200 feet. I don't know how big. It's enormous.
Circa Swim is
Circa
crazy.
Swim, Stadium Swim at Circa.
Yeah.
To me is the place that I enjoy going there on a random, let's say an NFL Sunday during the football season. But those watch parties at Circa, and especially now as we get into the good weather in the springtime, the amount of televisions, the size of the screens, the amount of pools, that to me would be hard to beat in terms of if you were going to just have a good time and enjoy yourself outdoors. The other one I want to try, I don't know if you've been there yet, is the Sportsbook at the George over at the Durango, the newer one.
Oh, no.
Indoor, outdoor. So it's an indoor-outdoor sportsbook. You've got one half that's kind of outside with like big Adirondack chairs and a lot of screens, but there's also a sportsbook inside.
Any closer to T-Mobile?
That's a good question. I don't think you can go wrong with, they always have the games on at Beer House, which is right. I mean, you could walk there in 2 minutes from T-Mobile Arena. I love, after the games every once in a while, to go over there. They usually have some live music, but I can't tell you about during the game because I'm usually calling the games.
Yeah.
But they always have a great crowd over there. And
yeah,
it's
and you're right near the action. So like in 2023, when fans flooded the plaza and the park outside of T-Mobile after Knights won the Stanley Cup, I mean, you just jump in and you merge into the chaos. Was it as chaotic as it looked down there when that happened?
It was crazy. It was crazy, David. It was the thing that I actually remember the most was, so obviously you remember them winning, and just that scene in Toshiba Plaza with everyone singing "We Are the Champions," which I get goosebumps thinking about it. The other thing that I'll never forget is the Stanley Cup parade down the strip, which I couldn't. I don't know if anyone could ever fathom that, but we were lucky enough, we meaning myself and the other broadcasters, to be on one of those buses. And I remember we came around the corner and we're kind of where the Bellagio fountains are, kind of the heart of the strip, right? Caesars, Bellagio. There had to be 30 to 35 people deep on the sidewalks. And it was just unbelievable. But it ended at Toshiba Plaza, and my broadcast partner and I, Shane Knighty, emceed the stage portion of that celebration. And there were 20,000. All I remember seeing, David, were people as far as the eye could see. There were 20,000 people packed in there. They were from the plaza all the way back to Park MGM and the Dolby Live Theater. All you saw were people. So that
nuts.
it was unbelievable. And I'll tell you, to be up there in front of that many people, it was kind of, we had all probably had a few adult beverages, which probably helped take the edge off a little bit.
Or increase it, depending on how you approached it. Yeah,
That's right. But we tried to, how could you not have fun with it? It was great, and hopefully they can do it again here in the real near future, maybe even the next couple of months.
Now, I've been lucky that every time I've been in Toshiba Plaza, it hasn't been too crowded with folks because I get to the games late, right? But I mean, I've seen it really super duper crowded, especially after really big wins like that. Do you think Toshiba Plaza still has room for improvement when hosting these large crowds? If they could like innovate or do something differently, what would it be?
Well, I think they do a pretty good job, David. I mean, you could probably, in a way, speak to it better than me just because I'm not down there in the middle of it before and after games. I think they do a pretty good job of getting people in and out of there. Let's face it, after they win a Stanley Cup or, when you've got thousands and thousands of people, to me, I would encourage anybody to just bring your patience. I think you got to realize it's going to take a little bit of time. I just love that there's options there, right? There's food options, there's beverage options, there's things for the kids. Having been to all these other arenas, there's a lot of them that don't have that option. The arena's just off the side of the highway somewhere. Right. And there's not much else to do in the area. So I think really they do a decent job of it. I'm biased because I don't probably get caught up in it as much as a lot of other people would, but they've made that just such a fun. It's all based around fun.
Now, you mentioned your bias. I'm going to ask you for the last question to put your bias aside one more time. When this episode will air, we will be going into the second game of the playoffs against the Wild. We've had some success against the Wild early in the season, but what are our chances looking like this year to get past both the Wild and all the way to the end?
I think they're as good as anybody, David. I really do. They've built this team to be a Stanley Cup contender every year. I like their chances a lot more this year than I did last, to be honest with you. They had some key people injured late last season. They tried to I refer to it as they tried to get the band back together last year, and they did, but it wasn't, not everyone was in tune, for lack of a better way to put it. This year, they're very much in tune. They finished with the second best record in the Western Conference, third overall in the NHL. There's a lot to like about their chances here.
Well, Dave, with you on the mic, making the game exciting for everyone listening, I don't think that you can lose. So let's root for the Golden Knights, and we'll see you at the Stanley Cup celebration.
I like where your head's at, David. You get what you expect to get, right? Plan for success. So I like that idea a lot.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us today on CityCast Las Vegas.
You bet. My pleasure.
And that's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, go tell a friend. You could also rate our show, leave us a review. We read them all, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Till then, stay lucky.